James Mathers at Cine Gear Expo 2018. I'm here with my friend Geoff Boyle, who's a fantastic cinematographer and the founder of CML.
Indeed.
Cinematographers Mailing List, for those that don't know. It's a great source of communication about all technology related to cinematography, lighting, lenses, cameras, and you started that how many years ago?
21 years ago,
Wow.
just over 21 years ago. It was the result of boredom. I was shooting a lot on location at the time, and I was chatting to other cinematographers who were equally bored in hotel rooms on AOL and CompuServe.
I remember that.
Yeah, so but I was having the same conversation on Usenet, AOL, and CompuServe with different people. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm going to copy the Telecine Internet group, TIG, and I'm going to grab the most interesting people and set up a mailing list. So I took the 60 most interesting people and told them, you are now members of CML. And they had no choice. And luckily it grew quite rapidly. I funded it to start with, and then we started to pick up sponsors. I said at one point when it grew to 250 members that I was going to have to find a way to pay for this because it was starting to cost me, proper
Servers
money.
And all that. Yeah.
And Jean-Pierre of Arton said he would fund me $1 per member per year, which was brilliant. It was $250.
But how many members do you have now?
Over 12,000. So
that'd be a big investment.
Not what we get paid. We cut it off when we reached 2,500 members.
Yeah.
So a gold sponsor is 2,400 in fact per year, which is it means it pays for the servers. It pays for we don't use the member lists aren't available to anyone. No one's allowed to advertise on it. No one's allowed to harvest addresses from it. It's meant to be as non-commercial as it can be, and the money is then used for camera testing.
Yeah, which you do been doing for years,
and which is horrendously expensive. People think, you just get cameras in a room and you shoot some charts, and there can be 30-odd people at times involved.
And you have to have scientific methodology to make sure that it's an even playing field for everybody.
When we did the lens flare tests 2 years ago, which I'll be repeating next January, we had, I actually can't remember how many lenses because it grew day by day, but somewhere around 80-something lenses on a motion control rig. So that when we tested movements and focus pulls, they were identical on every lens. Now, that's not simple, and it's not cheap.
Oh, just coordinating all those manufacturers together, that's like herding cats, I would imagine.
Well, the hysterical thing is the university we were shooting in had to take out additional insurance because they realised we had over 5 million pounds worth of lenses in the studio, and panicked.
And I know you've been doing some work with ASUS lately. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I've been working with ASUS for several years now because I got interested in... Well, I'm interested in control. Mm-hmm. That when I started in this business, it was really simple. You had labs where base lights were supposedly 25 across, except every lab was different, but you knew what the base lights were. And if you printed your rushes at their base light, there was no argument. If it looked bad, it was your fault. It was what you'd shot. But if it looked good then, and it looked bad later in the process, it was somebody else's. And it was really simple. Then we went to shooting on film, but scanning. But again, you had telecine alignment film, TAF, and if there was an argument about what it looked, line the thing up to TAF, put my neg on, does it look okay? If it looks okay at this stage, fine. And then it went to hell. It became the Wild West. And I did a presentation in November for the NSC showing 12 of the standard lookup tables I've got for Alexa. And these come from different post houses I've worked with.
And they're all over the place.
And they're all over the place. So, and I was showing this as an introduction as to why I use ASUS. Because ASUS gives you a standard image transform coming in from a camera. It gives you a standard output transform for the monitors. And that's what you shot.
Yeah.
And we're finally back to give me the standard IDT, give me the standard ODT. That's what I shot. If that's not what you're seeing, somebody else is messing with it.
It's not the other guy's fault anymore. No. At least you can't claim it, right?
You know exactly where you are. And it's brilliant. If you get it wrong, you've got it wrong. So I've been doing work with the help of Nick Shaw of Antler
The
Post.
colorist.
Yeah, and color workflow specialist. And that's the thing, that everyone's calling themselves color scientists now. Drives me crazy. Mitch Bogdanovich was a color scientist. Charles Poynton's a color scientist. Josh Primes.
No argument there.
But the rest of them? The guys with a crayon.
It's aspirational.
Yeah, okay. That's, yes. So the whole thing is, what we wanted to do was to be able to emulate the look of an ACES process without having to have all the hardware on set, without having a DIT, without having a grading system and so on. So we then generated simple lookup tables that emulated the IDT from a camera, the RRT that's part of ACES, and the ODT to go to 709. Use this single lookup table, which most cameras you can actually load into the camera now. If not, use a lockbox to any standard 709 monitor, and it gives you the look of the entire ACES workflow.
Oh, that's great.
So it means that you can then, your rushes go in, and what they get in post, what the rushes show is what you shot. Because all they have to do is put the standard IDT on the standard ODT, and that's what they saw on the floor. So the important thing is the dailies, because that's what people see. And if the dailies look the way you want them to look,
The cameraman doesn't get fired.
Precisely.
Unless he screwed up.
Unless he screwed up. But at least you know where the blame is then.
Yes.
And, I'm arrogant enough to know it's somebody else's fault, because I'm going to get it right. And if I can't after 50 years of doing it, then hell, there's something wrong.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. It's really fun to talk to you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Congratulations on the success of CML.
Thank you. Okay.